So one of the more popular videos that I uploaded recently was 2 simple trades that any BetAngel user could do. And they showed a couple of things that you could do when certain situations occurred within the market. And a couple of questions came up from that. One was, how can I find those opportunities? And the great thing is with BetAngel you can find them really quickly and easily. And the other one was, how often do they occur? So I thought it would be worth doing a video to appraise what happened this week. So yeah, the first question to answer is, how often do they occur? And in fact they occur much more frequently than you would expect. In fact, I would say across the entire market, unexpected things occur more frequently than they really should. And I may have covered this in a couple of videos before, but it's an area of the market that I lurk in repeatedly, because the fact is that when you look at the way that a lot of people do things, they're looking for a very simplistic process with a high strike rate. And the fact is that very often that is not the place that you will find the most amount of value, or the place where you'll find the best trades, because everybody's doing the same thing. And sometimes you need to flip stuff on its head. You need to invert it and look elsewhere for opportunities. So when everybody is doing one type of thing, it generally pays to do the opposite. The only time that wouldn't happen is if there's a fire and everybody's running away from it. You probably don't want to run towards it. So, use your discretion. However, what I'm telling you is, in the near 20 years worth of experience I've got in the market, unusual things happen much more frequently than you would expect. Yesterday, we actually had a situation develop where there was a race meeting at Newcastle, and the market was acting unusually. Now, this is something that I could quantify for you, but that would be boring. But very often what you tend to find over a certain trading session is that I do the first cycle, for example, in racing, and then I get a feel for how the market's behaving. Sometimes, you're not getting orders filled, the markets are erratic and it just feels horrible. And other times, the market sings to you. You can hear some sweet music emanating off of the market. And other times you just pick up general characteristics within the market. So at Newcastle yesterday evening, was it yesterday evening? Can't remember, it could have been the afternoon. Anyhow, at Newcastle yesterday, what we actually found was that the market was behaving itself quite well. There were some strong moves within the market and they were generally readable. But there was a couple of unusual things going on. In one particular race, what actually happened was the price of, I can't remember what the name of the runner is, generally I don't, the price of a horse was going along fairly normally on a slight drift, and then suddenly it spiked out and then came all the way back in. Now, the reason for that spike could have been anything. It was probably a bot somewhere got something wrong, somebody pressed the wrong button, and it just set in motion a series of events. I did discuss this on the other video. And that basically sent the price flying out and then flying back in again. Now, the way that I spot those things, because I'm answering 2 questions here now, is that I will run a piece of automation in the background that just looks at the entire market and basically looks for a change in variation within the market. So when it sees a sudden change in something, it just sends me an alert, and then I can go and look and understand exactly what I'm looking at. So pretty simple to do. If you want to get hold of a template for that, then just visit the forum, and we've got it in the automation area. We'll talk about this in a second. So yeah, upon seeing that at Newcastle, I was thinking, well, that's odd, because that sort of sums up Newcastle today. Some really strong moves, and there seems to be no basis for those moves. There's something unusual going on there, and I actually traded Newcastle pretty well. So yeah, that occurred in one race, and what occurred in the next race? Exactly the same. It was, you look at the 2 graphs, I'll put one over here and one over here, and it's difficult to figure out that they were 2 separate races, half an hour apart, 2 different runners, but the only thing that was the same between them was they were both at Newcastle. So, on the first one, I probably didn't do as good a job of that as perhaps I could have done, because I was trading something else. However, on the second, I absolutely smashed it, had a good day. And you'll be surprised how often this happens. But the underlying theme here is, if you load all of your markets into BetAngel Guardian, that can refresh the markets 50 times a second. Now that is much faster than you can refresh the markets if you're looking at them manually. So I stick a bit of automation on there that basically scans the market and it sends me an alert. You can get a message or you can get a sound, but basically it will send me an alert when something unusual happens, when there's a significant deviation from the current price or the amount of money traded in the market or any number of those things. It just, bang, tells me that there's something going on, and then I can look at it. You can even get BetAngel to switch to that market automatically. So very often I'll run more than one version of BetAngel, and one of it will just be, its pure purpose will be either gathering data or scanning the markets for something unusual. And then it will switch to the market as soon as something happens, and then I can have a good nose at what's going on. You know, it's a beautiful use of, and that's one of the reasons we've designed all these tools. It's a beautiful use of BetAngel. So yeah, you know, these things occur with an amazing amount of regularity. And we had two half an hour apart at Newcastle yesterday. But the best example of this is at the World Cup, because we had a really bizarre situation at the World Cup. Again, it was one of these unexplained, unexpected, didn't know it was going to happen, it just came straight out of the blue sort of things. So when Egypt were playing, in the latter stages of the tournament, you expect teams to put out a full strength team. You're expecting everybody to be in the starting lineup, and of course for Egypt, you know, the star player is Mo Salah. So, you know, to have Mo Salah not in the squad would be something pretty amazing. Now obviously he didn't play in the first game, or was on the bench because of his injury, and he probably hasn't been 100%, which is a bit of a shame for the World Cup. However, you know, it was likely that he was going to play. Now there is a bit of a backstory to this, because there was a bit of controversy about him meeting, I think it was the Chechen leader or something, and there was a bit of a backstory. But it's not unusual to get backstories at the World Cup, because, you know, press companies will run stories because it's a chance to get things very high visibility. And, you know, if you're a journalist, you want to get a big headline story. So digging up some dirt on somebody or making a meal out of something isn't unusual. So that wasn't unusual in itself. So I saw the story, didn't really pay much attention to it, because you know, there was a bit of controversy about whether Salah would continue to play for Egypt, but I felt that that was going to affect things after the World Cup. However, you know, we come round to the day of the match, and when the team sheet is announced on the Egyptian FA's official Twitter feed, they've got a lovely big graphic there with the manager looking totally perplexed at the team selection, and Mo Salah isn't on there. You know, what is going on? So if you look at what happens to the market, boom, the price went absolutely flying out at that particular moment in time. And, you know, it was a huge reaction to the fact that Salah wasn't in the team. So BetAngel, I was in the garden at the time, unbelievably, but I had a speaker pointing out of the window, and all of a sudden the alert goes off, and I'm thinking, okay, what's happening there? Run back to my desk, have a look, and then the price on Egypt is rocketing out. So I immediately start scouting around, trying to identify what's happened, and I find the Egyptian FA Twitter feed, and it has on there the team sheet, and then underneath it in Arabic are a load of people going, where's Salah, what's happened to Salah, and all of this sort of stuff. Now, thank goodness for technology, because I can't read Arabic, so I basically got it to translate it for me, and very quickly and a follow-up email came from the Egyptian FA basically saying, well, actually he is playing, we're really sorry that you know, that for the incorrect information. And then of course what happens to the price then? The price came rocketing back down. So I was onto it like a flash, having a good look at what was happening within the market, and you can see that upon spotting the opportunity that obviously the price flew out, but then you could see everybody basically figuring out that actually he was playing, and then the price reverted back to where it was. But the point for showing you and discussing that with you is just to show you that opportunities come out of everywhere. There's no predefined situation that leads up to those opportunities. It could be anything that causes it, but the fact is those opportunities do exist. Now the fact is that the Egyptian price came in quite a bit from that point onwards. So if you looked at it from a statistical perspective and you ploughed through data mining and spreadsheets and all of those things, you would never have seen it, because the starting price was here. That was probably reasonably accurate. But from a trading perspective, what we're interested in is not necessarily what the price necessarily should be. We're interested in how volatile the market is and whether that presents opportunities. And obviously on this particular occasion, it presented an absolutely first-class opportunity. Will it happen again this World Cup? I don't know. You can't predict those sort of things. They just come out of the blue. But the thing that you can do is you can set up BetAngel to go through those markets, monitor when the activity is unusual, and then to alert you. And then as a trader, you can make a decision at that point about what you choose to do within that particular market. Now, I have actually blogged that funny incident with the Egyptian team. And if you want to download a file that will allow you to look for a carbon copy of those types of opportunities, then nip into the forum. I'll put the link in the comment section below, or in the description below I should say, and you can go into there, download that, put that into BetAngel and start messing around. Now I suggest that you fiddle and create what you want, but the template's there for you to design and amend however you want to scan those markets. But the great thing about BetAngel is if you load all of those markets, they could be any market at all, tennis, football, cricket, racing, whatever you want, into Guardian, get it to scan through those markets, it can spot those opportunities for you, and it will alert you before you even know that something unusual is going on. So anyhow, a bit of a follow-up to the previous video, but also to highlight what has been one of the best trading opportunities of the World Cup so far.